Good evening. Welcome to our program, Women to Women. It's nice to have you with us. I'm Carol Paz, your hostess, and as always promised, we have a wonderful woman with us as a guest. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsors, carsonnow.org. For the latest breaking news here in Carson City, go to carsonnow.org. And you can watch us online at carsonnow.org as well. We'd also like to thank Apex Security Consulting Firm, which provides personal and corporate protection. And we'd also like to thank our sponsors, the Nevada Appeal and the Record Courier, for their support of Women to Women. Remember, they always ask us to shop locally and to look for that list of upcoming senior activities that take place here in Carson City in their publications. So let's turn now to our very special guest, Liz Andrews Booth. Liz, let me welcome you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Liz, it's a pleasure. We've been talking by phone and we finally get to meet for the first time face to face.
Yes.
I always ask my guests just to kind of get a feel for where they all come from around this great nation or even outside of this nation. Where were you born?
I was born in San Luis Obispo, California.
Okay, a lot of California girls on
Yeah.
this show.
We got smart, came to Nevada.
Well, Liz, when you were, how many years did you spend in California growing up?
Well, I was kind of had a gypsy lifestyle. I lived all up and down California.
The coastline?
From the coastline, from like Healdsburg on down to San Diego.
Okay.
And that probably for about 30 years.
All right, so you really are a native Californian in many ways.
Right, and I back and did the same thing with Nevada.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you're a journeyer, right?
Yes.
When you were growing up, Liz, especially during those early childhood, elementary years, do you remember them as being stable? Do you remember them as being adventuresome? What was it like when you were growing up as a kid?
I had a very adventurous family. I was the oldest out of 5.
Oh, okay.
And we basically went, traveled around California, and my dad worked for a hospital. My mom was a homemaker, and she made our home wherever we went.
What a great education
Yes.
for a family. You know, not many children have that opportunity to have both parents and be able to travel with them. Was it your father's work that moved you around from California most of the time?
It was a little both.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my mom had a wandering spirit too.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Where do you remember in California that probably you had some really good lessons from as a child? You know, sometimes when we have, as we're growing up, we have challenges from
Right.
playmates, from other families, from the schools that we're in, and how we meet those challenges quite often defines, to a certain extent, how we're going to meet challenges as an adult.
Right.
Okay, were you a tough kid? Were you a fighter? Did you have to hold your own amongst the other 4 siblings?
Oh yes, definitely. I was the biggest until like junior high. Then
Does
my
that
brothers
mean
started
that-
getting bigger.
Okay, were you the oldest of the 5?
Oldest out of 5, yes.
All right, so you had kind of a special position
Right.
in the pecking order, so to speak.
Right. I was path burner.
Yes, and probably in the eyes of your parents, a role model in many ways for your younger brothers and sisters. Do you ever feel that
I
pressure?
was the wild one.
Oh no,
Yes.
the very first one.
And then my sisters are wilder than me, but nobody noticed that one. Just Lizzie did it.
Okay, that's quite a confession. Okay. So when you came to Nevada, was it as a family all together, or was it much later as just the adult that you?
It was much later, in the
Okay.
early 2000s, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
What brought you to Nevada?
Adventure.
Again.
Adventure. I put my house on wheels. My son and I was a single parent. And,
Okay.
put my house on wheels, and we could change our front yard whenever we wanted.
You know, that's brave.
Yeah, very. I learned from my childhood. That
Okay.
was the challenge. Is moving every 2 to 3 years and going
New
to a new
environments.
school, new environment, but we did have our family and we
Okay.
did have each other.
And that's so
And
important,
It
isn't
is
it?
extremely important, yeah.
Because when you're moving as a child from one school, especially when you're in junior high and high school and you're leaving friends, how did the kids in the family handle that? That's a toughie.
We're all really resilient.
Are you close to one another as well?
Yes, we are. Yes, we
Okay.
are.
So you're close in age and you're close in personalities.
Mostly, yes. We're a wild bunch. We always have fun getting together, and with them, my brothers and sisters and their children.
I'm
it's
beginning to
just-
sense that.
Oh, it's fabulous. And everybody's huge. We have the hugest family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, So you came with your son to Nevada with a goal in mind. I mean, did you have a job waiting for you, or were you going to just try and, first of all, establish a home life, establish a locale?
Right, searching for roots.
Okay.
And I lived in Vegas, I've lived in Reno, and when I first hit Carson City, I felt like I was home for the first time in my life.
Really?
I did, I felt embraced. Everything is just moved together these last maybe 6 or 7 years, the longest time I've ever been anywhere. So yeah, I'm very blessed to be in this community. And
well, you
I'm proud
came
of it.
from southern Nevada in the Las Vegas area, which is, it can be overwhelming to anybody. And then you came up into Reno, which again is another city.
Right.
And depending on when you came there as to the business activity and the environment, et cetera, but then you moved on to a very much smaller environment of Carson City.
Right.
And found roots.
Right.
So you have lived here in Carson City since when?
I think 2004-ish, 5-ish.
Okay. And how did your son find it? Did he like it as well?
He liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, he really he got everything kind of tied up in a bow for us here, and he was able to graduate high school, and we did that, and then he joined the Marine Corps, finished that, came home, and he's living back here in Carson, working.
Quite a story so far. Were you, when you look back upon your years of young motherhood, and maybe when your son was 6 and 8 and 11 and 12, how did you help him adjust to so much change? You were a constant in his life. That was wonderful.
Right.
And I think sons have very special relationships with their mother in terms of conversations, in terms of just letting their hearts out a lot of times. Sometimes with a dad, it's a little bit tougher because your dad has different expectations from you. But you can just be yourself with your mom.
Right.
How did you help him with all that moving about? Does he ever tell you today what you did for him?
He thanks me for what we did in his younger years to make him the man he is today, which will make me cry. And we're so close. I'm so proud of him, and we have great, clear communication. I listen to him, and because it was what we had, we were the special team.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes when discipline is called for, I think they appreciate later on in life the framework that you set around them. Without that framework, they're kind of wandering, they're kind of lost.
Right.
What made him decide to join the Marines?
Well, I was in the Marines for...
another facet.
And
10 years in the Marine Corps.
Yes, well, I was in 3 different services, but the most was I was in the Marines.
Well, besides the Marines, where else did you serve?
I was in the California Army National Guard after that, and then I went into the regular Army, and then back in the Marine Corps Reserve, and did that.
You're a lady with discipline inside of yourself.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Okay, now, this is interesting, Liz, because you bring a variety of background, and now you're a business lady as well as a leader in the Downtown Business Association. Where does this business aspect come from? I mean, that requires roots, settling in, a discipline with your thinking, your financing, etc.
Truly.
What helped develop that?
My travels. All of the myriad of jobs that I've ever done in anywhere we went, because I always was the breadwinner, and so it was mandatory for me to go out there. And I got the high-level corporate marble tabletops, and I retired the desk 2 years ago and started my own businesses, just taking everything that I've learned and every job that I had, and I put it all together, and that's what I do. So,
where did you retire from before starting your own business?
Economy Speed Press. Great little print shop that's been there for 40 years. Just now changed owner. We finally retired my boss. I stuck with her till the end, till we could retire her, and so.
Now, in your process of becoming a business owner, a business developer, that takes a specific number of skills.
Truly.
And sometimes we have to sit down by ourselves quietly and ask ourselves in our mind, in our hearts, can I really do this? Here's what I have. I may have some financing behind me. I know that I have health. I've got energy. I know that I want to have this succeed. What are the things that come up in one's heart that are fearful of starting your own business, especially for women? What kind of fears did you have to face?
Is my crazy scheme going to work?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what I could focus my company on, so I made 2, and then that's why I say everything that I do is my motto for my own business. And
now, your personal motto and your business motto is what, would you say?
Everything that I do.
Everything that I do.
I consider myself a master facilitator.
Okay.
Of all your needs.
Okay. All right, let's go to the Downtown Business Association here in Carson City. It's a challenge, isn't it, to stay in business?
Yes.
What are you hearing?
I hear fear, but this wonderful membership that we have, they're not afraid. They're forging ahead. We are using our imagination and our enthusiasm to put on the party, get more business downtown, which brings in more businesses, and support each other.
Now, how do you go out and actually pull in, convince businesses from outside of Carson City, maybe close proximity, but others maybe from out of state or in other areas of Nevada? How do you actually get them to believe that Carson City is the place to start a business, to come into? What are some
that takes motivation, motivational speaking.
Yes.
Also being able to put across your enthusiasm for this town and for what we provide. The wine walk is magnificent, and that's our venue that's our main venue on what we concentrate on is the wine walk every month.
Okay, what is the wine walk for those out there who are listening or watching who don't understand what this is about?
Okay, well, we sponsor a wine walk the first Saturday of every month from 1 to 5.
Okay.
And what you do,
regardless of weather.
We pour wine, rain or shine.
Okay.
Get a map. We have 44 businesses now that are participating, so there's 44 stops.
Highly respectable.
To take your logoed glass and your wristband and your friends and go around to all these businesses who have opened their doors, serving hors d'oeuvres and wine and putting on the party and letting everybody know that, hey, we're down here, these small businesses, and come on down because they've got we've got an eclectic collection of businesses down there. It's amazing.
You do.
From yoga to coins to casinos to restaurants and specialty shops, antiques.
Okay, so when you have this wine walk, you may have Carson City residents, but you may also have guests coming with them from out of town who are getting some ideas themselves.
We have out-of-state people that come in multiple times a year.
So this has been a success.
Oh yes.
Okay.
It's grown by leaps and bounds, and it's from the team. It's from the whole membership. The board of directors, past and present, have been fabulous. You can't do anything like this without a good committee.
Okay, when we come back to the second half, I want to ask you, how does Downtown Business Association like being led by a woman? As president? We'll see. Okay, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Pets of the Homeless is a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization that provides pet food and veterinary care to the homeless and less fortunate in local communities.
With donations from the public, we're able to provide homeless shelters with crates, bowls, cleaning materials, so that homeless with pets can come into homeless shelters and get the services that they need to get out of homelessness.
Come into Villa Basque Deli and Cafe right here in Carson City, Nevada. Discover fine Portuguese extra virgin olive oils, vintage balsamic vinegars, and a wide assortment of international health teas provided by distributor Carpa Nevada LLC. In addition to these terrific items, Villa Basque is also the home of Pete's famous Basque chorizo, handmade on the premises from Pete's secret family recipe. Satisfy your culinary curiosities. Don't delay.
Report of wildland fires threatening structures.
When disaster strikes, will you be ready? Information is essential during a disaster. That's why we use the latest technology to keep you informed. When you register, you'll receive emergency alert messages on all your devices and phone numbers at once. Go to ReadyWashoe.com. Click on the Get Message icon, then just fill out this quick form. It's easy. Don't get caught unprepared. When disaster strikes, be ready.
Welcome back to the second half of our program. You're with Women to Women. And our very special guest is Liz Andrews Booth. And we're going to get back to Liz because we want to know how, as president of the Downtown Carson Business Association, she gets all that kind of respect and cooperation. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsors for this second half. Carpenter Nevada LLC, importer of fine Portuguese olive oils, balsamic vinegar, and international teas, as well as Pete's famous Basque chorizo from the Villa Basque Deli and Cafe right here in Carson City. And remember, you can watch us online on carsonnow.org. Don't forget that. So let's return to Liz. Liz, my question at the end of the first half was, it's pretty daunting to be put in a position of a presidency of a downtown business association because you are really representing 44 different businesses who are in your membership now, correct?
A little bit over 44. That's how many wine walk stops we have.
How many wine walks? Okay.
We have about 77.
Okay, but you're talking about 77 different businesses.
Correct.
That you are representing the leadership for. So it's an awesome responsibility, and you must be a woman that has vision in part of her personality to see what can be done, what we should be doing in order to bring attention to Carson City in a very positive way. So the Wine Walk is one of those enterprises that you've undertaken.
One of them, yeah.
What do you see coming down the path that you'd like to tell us about or share with us in terms of Carson's businesses? Do you see, if we can get over this real big bump in the road of the economy, can you see prosperity staying with the prosperous businesses, with new businesses, with perhaps some retirements, okay? But can you see a future there for Carson City?
Oh, I see so much prosperity for Carson City, just because of the teamwork that's being weaved, as you would say right now. We're working really closely with the city personnel, City of Carson City. We've got our entity. We work really closely with the chamber. We're like co-members. We're talking with the visitors center and other businesses on putting cohabitive events on to work together for advertising for this huge Legends of the West event that we're putting together.
Now, when will that occur, Legends of the West?
June 22nd.
Okay.
We'll start the 10 days of Carson City's Motor Madness.
And what does that mean exactly, Liz?
Well, we had so many. June is the start of the car show season. We've been doing the Legends of the West for 3 years. And this is our third annual. And it's just gotten bigger and bigger. But there's also other entities that have car shows. And say the Fandango has their food truck. We have Run What You Brung. We have, not as a DBA, but as Carson City. And then there's also the T-Bucket Alliance that I do believe is coming into town. Okay. And so that's a 10-day block period that we had this idea to get everybody together to make everybody working together to do a promotional piece to put in all these magazines going everywhere for all this. I think we're calling it Chrome City's 10 Days of Motor Madness. We're getting everybody together to promote that.
And also...
This is the destination, Carson City.
Neat. And you're also calling into the great love that Americans have with cars.
Oh, yeah.
Past,
and
present,
the Wild
or
West.
Future. And the Wild West, okay.
Don't forget that part.
All right. Now, Liz, you're a fascinating character. You're right out there. You're almost bigger than life in many ways, all right? And that's a compliment. That's a compliment. Besides being president of the Downtown Business Association for Carson City, you have other enterprises as well. What are those?
Well, I have my, as my CPA says, my for-profit enterprise is Liz's Biz. And I do a variety of things. I do a little graphic design, bookkeeping, life coaching. I'm going to be introducing AromaTouch reflexology therapy, and event planning, of course.
All right, so there's a bit of the artist in you as well.
Right.
Okay, the creativity, and I see it, okay, in your conversation and in your whole background. So how do you find time? Okay, let me change that question. As a woman who has been a single mother raising a son, many challenges along the way there. As a representative of a community, lots of challenges there. And then owning your own business, how do you keep up with yourself?
One event at a time.
Okay, one step at a
One
time.
event at a time. Like, you just only can concentrate on this event right now, today, and not the one tomorrow or the next day.
Okay.
It's focus.
Yes.
It's concentrating and doing the best you can on what you have in front of you right now.
And I think what you're also saying, Liz, for women listeners out there who are thinking, I'm not sure I could ever handle this, I think you're saying to them, straighten out your priorities.
Right.
Get those, whatever is number one priority, number two, number three, get that in focus so that you can concentrate and it makes practical sense to you.
Right. You capture your vision, you get your focus, and everything else will flow. As long as you keep a hold of that vision and the belief in yourself that you can do it and you can overcome any obstacle or anything that you are facing right now, it's all okay and all is well.
Who do you go to? I mean, you say, okay, I can do this all by myself, but in truth, we really need the help from so many different sections. Your family was a great contributor to your development as an adult, as a child, then an adult. Your son, you have a wonderful relationship as mother and son. And I'm sure that you have business associates or people that you go to sit down and talk out this plan, this idea. Is that true or not?
I do have some very, very close friends. We have a book club, and we've been studying for a couple of years now. And I bounce a lot of things off of them.
Yes, as a teacher, I love that.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, we're doing really well on our third book. But that's another thing. And then I also do a lot of energy healing technique research, which goes along with my nonprofit. And that's my biggest vision. And I kind of tailoring everything towards that to facilitate that.
But here, I also hear you saying in here that you need to have people that you can sit down with who will be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
Trustworthy. They know you, and they're not afraid of the ideas that you present to them, and they'll discuss it, hopefully in a non-critical, non-judgmental way, but yet you want the truth from them.
Correct.
We need to hear that as human beings because we see ourselves oftentimes so differently than someone else.
Truly.
And you need to have that sounding board. So I would encourage women who are listening to you. You're kind of saying, let's get our act together. Let's prioritize what's important to us and then take it one step at a time. And it's doable. It's doable.
One little action step.
Okay.
Just a little action step.
Are you afraid of growing old?
No.
Why not?
Because I just woke up in my 40s.
Okay, a lot of us, came to it at 45, 48. What am I doing? Oh, I know now what I want to do.
No, I'm excited. Just the wisdom and the things that I've been learning. I am not afraid, and I'll tell you what. A lot of my best friends are in their 70s, and they can run circles around me. So I'm not afraid whatsoever.
Have you ever caught yourself saying this to yourself? Okay, I don't mind growing old, 70, 75, 80, if I have the wisdom, if I ask for wisdom and I have that wisdom, and I still have the health and energy. That's so important. I believe that the aging process has so many positives to it, okay, and I'm a woman of faith, okay, so I'm not afraid of the future. I'm not afraid of aging. But I think it's important that we understand that we need to learn. Mistakes are very healthy so often because they teach us so much.
Right.
And why do you suppose, Liz, it takes women maybe a longer time to really come out into a personality of their own and say, you know what? I'm going to do this business. I'm going to go for it. Or I'm going to go back to school. I always wanted to be an attorney. I always wanted to be a restaurateur. I always wanted to be this.
Right.
Why are we slow in doing that?
Well, it's what happened with it's society's influences.
Help me understand that.
We have our lifetime, and here, like, say up to where let's just use me as an example. Here I am in my 40s, and this part right here, it felt like a dark cloud was over me all my life. And then it was necessary. I was in survival mode. Once you get out of survival mode and you find your light inside, and you fluff that light up and you make it brighter and shinier, then there's nothing you can't accomplish. There's nothing you can't do. If you can envision it, you can do it.
Are you saying that there was a period back here when you say a dark cloud, kind of depression or lack of confidence? What was it that created that dark cloud over you?
Trauma. There was trauma. The one I remember is in high school. I experienced traumatic events, which then compound each other through my lifetime. And then, of course, going into the military, putting myself in male-dominated careers. I was a gas turbine mechanic. Then I went to be in the military police, and then I was in a weapons company. And then I was a unit clerk. That was boring. I like to roll around in the mud with a gun.
So, are you an expert gunman?
Yes.
Gunwoman, I should say. Okay.
Yes.
Do you keep those skills up?
I would like to. We actually were looking at the shooting range, my husband and I, who is one of my sounding boards also. He's so wonderfully supportive.
You have a great partner.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I found him.
And doesn't that
my
change?
golden king.
Yes. Doesn't that change our whole perspective when you actually realize, and maybe it takes some mistakes in the beginning, maybe it takes some misjudgments, some missteps, misevaluations, miscalculation. I don't want to use the word calculation, but we don't always read people well as teenagers or even in our 20s and 30s. But there comes a point when we do know what's important in partnering with someone, especially marriage. And when was that point when you knew that you found the right person?
It was instant.
Your experience.
I had to grab and squeeze his leg, but it was actually, it was because I had stopped. I came to a point in my life when I said, no, there's going to be no more hurting Lizzie by anyone. And so if you want to participate in that activity, you can go away. So I kind of like put a little bubble around myself. It wasn't really a wall because I love people.
Yes,
and
you're very much a people person.
And that's just the way I am. So and more accepting myself, I could be open to a nice man.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
There's that,
You're saying something that's very important here. Through trauma, through some experiences that were very difficult, you learn to be more protective of who you are as a person. And willing to wait, willing to listen, willing to observe until your sensitivities and your experiences and your awareness of what's important in a really good, solid friendship and then perhaps marriage, okay?
Right.
And that makes such a difference in our future.
It does.
And in the life to come, okay?
It does. It's not necessary to find your happiness that way, but it sure makes it a lot brighter.
Okay.
It really does.
Liz, I want to thank you so very much. I would love to go on with this interview some more, but our time is running out. But I know that what you've had to say has spoken strongly to many listeners out there, both men and women. And we have a growing listening audience of both. It's mixed. So I want to say thank you so much for being with us, okay? Good luck, and I'll see you in the very near future. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight on Women to Women, and we look forward to a brand new program and to see all of you and be with all of you next week. Have a good evening.